Can I get found on the first page of Google? This is generally the first question we get asked by just about anyone who rings us. Now, if you want to be found on the first page of Google, the first question is, well, what do you want to get found? What I mean by that is, let's say you're a plumber in Perth. Sometimes we have people ring up and say, well, if I type in the word plumber, I want to get found on the first page of Google. Well, that's not really very realistic. Now, the trouble is, being found on the first page of Google just by typing in the word plumber, it's not very realistic. It's going to be difficult to do, and it's not really going to help you too much. If you're a plumber in Perth and you do actually go to the trouble so that after doing all your SEO you get found on the first page of Google just using the word plumber, then it probably means you can attract people from Sydney and Melbourne and just about everywhere, as well as the people from Perth. So basically you have an awful lot of people ringing you up. You're wasting their time. You're wasting your time. So when you start doing SEO, the first thing you want to do is think local. Now, we're a training company. We do SEO training, and we're based in Joondalup, which is just north of Perth. So let's bring up Google. As I say, we're an SEO company. We provide training, and we're in Joondalup. So if we do a search for SEO training Joondalup, which is probably what our local customers will search it for us, let's have a look, see what we get. These first items up here, 1, 2, 3, the first three, those are what are called pay for displays. They're pay for adverts, as are the ones down the side here. So basically, if you want to be displayed up here, that's nothing to do with SEO. That's just simply to do with paying lots of money to Google. SEO is all about getting your website found, ideally on the first page of Google. So here we are, we're in Google. This is live. We typed in SEO training Joondalup, which is where we're based, and that's what we do. And if we scroll up to see who's first, there's a little picture of me, and that's our website, seotraining.com.au. For seotraining.com.au, and we're actually first and second and third. So we've actually bagged the first three spots. I think that answers the question, is it possible? It is possible, and the worst thing is there's actually quite a few SEO companies in Joondalup. As you can see, we're first there for that particular phrase. And the worst thing about our business is, by definition, all of our competitors are SEO companies. They know all about SEO. Well, they certainly should do anyway. And as you can see, we've beaten them there. So when you start doing SEO, you should think local first. So think suburb first, and then broaden it out maybe to a city. So if we change the word Joondalup to Perth and do a search on that, so we're now searching for SEO training Perth. There we are. We're still listed first, which is kind of nice. So if I click on that website there, up comes our website, and as you can see, that's our website. If I click on the back button here, there's one or two other things you can see there. As well as coming up first, you want to come up with something that basically will attract visitors. And as you can see, a nice little trick I've used here is to get my picture displayed. So that's a little picture of me. And as you can see, this person has also got a picture, and these other people have got pictures as well. Basically, when you're designing your SEO, you really want to think of a number of different things. It's all very well being found on the first page, but if you're on the first page, that means you're probably one of 10, and you want to make sure that your listing gets clicked on rather than your competitors. So there's all these little tricks that you can use. You know, you basically want a nice clean title there, a nice clean description, and ideally have a little picture there as well. That's the sort of thing we do on our advanced training courses. We show you how to do things like that, which is actually much easier than you might think. It's a bit like having a classified ad in the paper. If you have a classified ad with no picture, that's one thing. If you want a picture, that generally costs you more. The great thing about having a little picture displayed here, it's totally free, it doesn't cost you anything, you just have to know how to do it. And if you've got 5 items that someone's looking at, and one of them's got a little picture and that's yours, chances are they'll click on it. The other thing is that quite often you might want to have different phrases being searched for. So for instance, we do SEO training DVDs. So if I type in SEO training DVD, notice this time I haven't typed in Perth, I haven't typed in Joondalup, so this should work anywhere in Australia. So I type in SEO training DVD. Again, the first couple here, they paid lots of money to go there. And this one here, if you notice the web address, it's for seotraining.com.au, which is one of our websites. So that kind of answers the question. It is more than possible to get on the first page. It's more than possible to get the top of the first page. There are no guarantees. No one can guarantee that. If you ask Google themselves, they do a set of guidelines about SEO, and they basically say no one can make a guarantee about getting onto the first page. So if you're talking to an SEO company and they make all sorts of wild and woolly guarantees of this, that and the other, including guaranteeing your first page positioning, listen to what Google says. No one can guarantee that, because Google changes the rules. They change the way things work on a daily basis. And as I say, no one can make that guarantee. So don't be too impressed by these various guarantees that are out there in the SEO world. The other thing about SEO is that, as you'll hopefully see by the end of this course, the best person to do SEO is you, because SEO is not difficult. SEO is not technical. You don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to be a web designer. Basically, what you do need is good, solid, up-to-date information that's good technically. In some cases you don't understand exactly how it works, and in other cases don't worry, just use our advice and it will work. And as you've seen there, the proof's in the pudding. And remember, all of our competitors at least should know what they're doing. So we're in the worst possible field for SEO, because by definition all of our competitors are SEO companies. If on the other hand you've got, say, a plumbing business or a glazing business, or you're an accountant or whatever it happens to be, in your case, the people who run your competitor businesses, they won't necessarily be experts. And the idea is that you need to know the basics of SEO and then start building on that with some clever stuff, again, which is not difficult, it's not technical, it's just being a little bit clever. And as you'll see, most SEO techniques are really common sense. At the end of the day, as we all say to people, you should learn how to think like a search engine. If you look at a website from Google's point of view and try and think of the things that Google are looking for, and if you give Google what it's looking for, then the chances are you'll make Google happy and you'll rise up in the search engine positions. It's as simple as that. The other thing about SEO is a lot of people out there will claim that if you use their particular service, they will get you probably onto the first page in this time next week. Again, patent nonsense. For good SEO to work, you should be thinking timescales of weeks, not days, possibly months. But if you do the groundwork, it will work. But as I said, there are no guarantees. It's up to you to implement the knowledge that we can give you or other companies can give you. But at the end of the day, do the work, be methodical, take it slow, and you will see an improvement in search engine position. But as for page one positioning, no one can guarantee that. Also, don't get too obsessed with page one positioning. It's nice to have, but even if you're on page two, you're going to get business. If you get from page 2 to page 1, you'll see a sudden increase in business in most cases. And certainly if you're in the top 3, that's where you really want to be. That's where you really get the benefit of SEO. So what will you learn on this course? Well, basically this course is a short course. It's designed as an introduction to concepts more than anything else. It's really designed to show you what can be done with SEO. There's an awful lot of claims out there which are patent nonsense. If you try doing research on something like YouTube, you'll find lots and lots of videos about how to do SEO. Most of these are out of date. I mean, some of them 5, 6, 7 years old. And SEO is a moving target, so you need up-to-date information. That's the first thing. You also need correct information as opposed to just someone's opinion on YouTube. And you will find there are lots and lots and lots of videos on YouTube which, if you know in detail about how SEO works, which is not a secret, you can find this out, it's just careful research. But if you look at some of the videos out there, they're just plain wrong. So for instance, you'll find numerous videos on YouTube that will tell you that something called meta keyword tags are really important for Google. Well, Google stopped using those years ago. They were important maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, but these days Google completely ignores that particular option. So, as I say, you need up-to-date information, and you need good information that's reliable. And the other thing is with SEO, as we'll see in a little while, there's basically two types. There's what's called white hat, which is good SEO. It's the sort of SEO that Google approves of. And there's black hat SEO, which is basically using crafty underhand tricks, which Google really doesn't like. It's trying to trick Google. And if you start trying to trick Google, it's getting smarter by the day. It will find you out and you will get banned. I mean, huge big companies like BMW, they've been banned in the past for using tricks that Google disapproved of. Only recently, Interflora, the UK branch, got banned completely from the UK index. So even if you typed in the word Interflora, you couldn't find it. By the time you're watching this video, that might have been fixed, but certainly at the time of writing, as I say, you type in Interflora itself in the UK version of Google, and they're just not displayed, let alone searching for things like flower delivery and stuff like that. So, as I say, we won't necessarily show you how to do everything. Really, the idea of this course is to show you the sort of things you should be thinking of, the sort of things you can do, the sort of things you can't do, and the sort of things you should be aiming for over the sort of weeks and months to slowly improve your website presence. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power. So basically, once you understand some of the basic principles of how search engines work, then you can start making improvements to lots of different aspects of your website. Now, another thing it's important to realize is that there's no magic bullet for SEO. There's no one thing you can suddenly fix and tomorrow you're going to be on the first page. It doesn't work like that. The way Google ranks web pages is that basically it looks at one web page against another, and when someone types in a search for a particular phrase, like say plumbers in Perth, then basically it has a whole lot of pages that it knows about, and in response to that particular phrase, it's got to rank one of those first in the search engine results, and somebody comes last in the search engine results. And there's lots and lots and lots of different factors, so there could easily be, say, 200 different factors that Google will take into account. And that's important to realize for one thing. The other thing to realize is that not all of those factors have an equal weight. So, for instance, take an obvious example. Quite often we have people saying to us, hey, we've got maybe a mobile hairdressing company based in, say, Joondalup, and we can't be found. You know, it just can't be found in Google. And then when we go and look at their website, even the words Joondalup or Perth or hairdressing is not actually displayed on the home page, or maybe not on some of the other pages either. So again, that's a very, very simple example where basically the important words are important to you and to your website. Make sure you actually use them in the text of your website. There's obviously lots of other tricks, but that's a really basic one. And it sounds kind of obvious, but we see this one over and over again. You know, people say we've got, again, maybe a plumbing company in, say, Woodside, and they might use the word plumbing, but not Woodside. So again, obvious points, most of these. But really, you've got to really think about your website, stand back, look at it from Google's point of view and say, well, if I was Google, would I understand what this page is about? Would Google know this page is about plumbing? It's in this particular suburb, it's in this particular state, it's this particular speciality. So, for instance, if you're a gas plumber, you would use the phrases gas plumber or gas plumbing within your website, and within all the various other places you can sort of hide your keywords. So really the idea is that the end of this course, which is, as I say, just a brief introduction, you'll have some ideas of what needs to be done, and then you can decide how you're going to implement those ideas. And basically it's up to you. I mean, the two basic choices are you pay someone else to do it, or you do it yourself. Paying someone else to do it is good, providing they know what they're doing. And unfortunately there's an awful lot of sharks out there who advertise themselves as SEO companies, but quite honestly know little or nothing about SEO, it would seem, just judging by results. The other way of doing it is do it yourself. That might sound frightening, but you don't need technical knowledge for SEO. At the end of it, it's your company, it's your website. The best person to do the SEO is always you, because you can always keep it on track. You can adapt it over time. So, for instance, over a period of time, you might go from, say, one emphasis to another. For instance, with our company, we do SEO consultancy, we also do SEO training, and SEO training is the main part of our business now. So we basically changed the emphasis over time. We still do consultancy, looking for details on our website, but training is really what we concentrate in now. That's really what people want to do, because increasingly people are realizing that they can do their own SEO, or at least they're thinking about doing their own SEO. Now, the first question is, what is SEO? Search Engine Optimization. Well, at the end of the day, SEO is really about just getting your website found as easily as possible within the search engines. The search engines include things like Google, Bing, Yahoo, and there are others, but those are really the main ones. So by far and away, the most important one is Google. So if you've got yourself finding, if you've got your website being found well in Google, chances are it'll be found well in the other ones as well, because they all use sort of similar techniques to rate web pages. Now, at the end of the day, as we'll see in a while, there are two types of SEO. There's what's called on-site SEO, which is basically changes you make on your website,